Hello students, welcome to the class. In this video, we'll be looking at the writing component of Unit 2, which is about letter writing and informal letter writing. So we'll be looking at the basics of letter writing and how to write an informal letter in this video. Now, with the advent of emails and other modern technology, the concept of letter writing has taken a backseat. But the style persists and people have to use it while writing emails. Now, actually, writing letters demands that we take much care about what we are writing and how it is being written. And one should always be careful about what is being written in a letter. Now, there are many objectives of letter writing. A letter bridges communication gap between two or more parties. A letter can create awareness, inform, or provoke a thought in the receiver of the letter, like it could be a complaint letter or an application. And a well written letter is a good way to express one's feelings. A heartfelt letter acts as a personal memoir and may be preserved by the receiver. Now, letters can be of two types: formal letters or informal letters. Informal letters, as the name suggests, are written to friends or relatives. They can be very personal as well as they can be social letters. Now, formal letters can be official letters, business letters, or applications, so on. Okay, whichever letter we begin to write, we need to keep some things always in our mind. First thing, we need to identify the type of letter, whether it is formal or an informal letter, because that will decide the language that we are going to use in the letter. We need to make sure that we open and close the letter correctly. Our salutation and subscription and the complimentary clause should always be properly written, because they are just like greetings. We have to establish the main intent of the letter. If it's a formal letter, it has to be concise and the language should straight away lead to the intent of the letter. Similarly, even in informal letter, we need to take care about establishing the main purpose of the letter very soon. Now, we need to be careful of the language that we use. In personal letters or informal letters, we have the flexibility to use language as we friendly language. But whereas in formal letters, the language has to be carefully proofread and it has to be direct in tone. Now, the length of the letter is also one of the things we need to take care. Our letters should not be extremely lengthy or extremely short, so that they may not even convey the message. In this video, we'll now look into the different types of informal letters and the writing style of an informal letter. Whereas formal letters we will do in a subsequent video. Now, informal letters are also known as personal letters. Their tone is personal and the style is very informal. Sometimes even it can be conversational. Informal letters could be about home, family, work, or something interesting that happened to us. So they can be personal letters, letters to family, letters to relatives, or letters to elderly people, or social letters like letters to friends and social invitations or congratulatory letters, apology letters, letters of sympathy, condolence, or even thank you letters. Now let's look at the layout of an informal letter. As you observe, we start with the sender's address, that is the writer's address, and it has to be at the top right hand corner. And under it, we mention the date. And to the left side, after the date, leaving a line, we write the salutation. And generally in an informal letter, we can start with dear, or if we can use dear and the name of the person. And next comes, after the salutation, the actual body of the letter. Now in an informal letter, we can have more than 2 paragraphs, depending on who the person receiving is and the varying levels of the informality. It is generally accepted that in informal letters, contracted forms can be used, like can't or haven't or won't. We may also use a more colloquial language register, like chatty tone that you might use in speech, or mild slang words. Punctuation can also be less formal, like we can use exclamation marks used to signify some shock or a joke, dashes instead of commas can be used, brackets can be used, and so on. And finally, we come to the complementary clause. And depending on the degree of intimacy that we have with the receiver, we can sign off as best wishes or kind regards, yours truly, with love, etc. And the final thing will be the sender's name or signature. Now this is an example of an informal letter. As you observe carefully, the sender's address is at the top right hand corner, and then comes the date, 9 July 2009, and then there is the salutation or the greeting, dear Daniel. And then the first paragraph is the opening paragraph, where it introduces to the receiver the intent of the letter. And then comes the body of the letter, and finally you have a paragraph which is like an ending of the letter. So in the body of the letter, we can observe, you can start with an opening paragraph, little, and then the contents in the middle part, and finally a short ending paragraph. Finally, there is the subscription, yours sincerely, or yours lovingly for that matter, and finally the signature. Here is another example of an informal letter where the address is actually indented towards the left side. This is what happens when we write a letter on a computer, right? So you have the sender's address and the date, and then the salutation, dear mom, and again you find the body of the letter is distributed into little paragraphs. The opening paragraph, the middle paragraphs showing the actual message, and finally there is the final paragraph with the concluding remarks. And there is the complementary clause, yours lovingly, and the signature line, Neha. So you can use either the format that I have shown you before or this one. Both of them are okay. Now the concluding line, which generally comes at the end of the body of the letter, always can begin as a new paragraph, or you write it in a separate sentence. For friends, we can just write with best regards or best wishes. For parents and elders, with love and respect, or with respect and affectionate regards. Or for younger relatives, you can just mention with love, with best wishes. Right. So in this video, we had looked into the basics of letter writing as well as the format of an informal letter. Hope you understood the concept. We will look into the format and writing style of a formal letter in the next video. Thank you for watching. Good day.